Hey guys, while I'm on this beautiful beach in Grimstad in Norway, I thought I'd crack out a couple of beautiful devotions in the context of this beautiful view that you now see. We're talking about James, we're talking about the practical nature of his writing and the warnings he gives us not to mess up our Christian lives. Now, we've spoken about don't mess it up at the point of cheap thrills, private sins, or playing games with spiritual things. But I want to take you to maybe just another one today and say sometimes we can lose or mess up our Christian faith at the point of panic. At the point of panic, where things suddenly go wrong and life suddenly takes a turn on us and things suddenly become what we didn't want them to be and didn't expect them to be and hoped that they would never be, but they are. And sometimes at that point of panic, we can mess it up. And we can walk away from God, we can deny Him, and we can pay the price for that. Fortunately for us, God is an understanding and compassionate God. It's not like He's distant and He's not affected by our feelings. But there are times we just got to manage our feelings very, very carefully and maybe even cleverly. I think of Peter, when Peter was commanded by Jesus to get out of the boat and walk on the water. The other disciples didn't want to do that. That's their choice. But Peter got out in obedience to Jesus' command and he started to walk on the water. But then the Bible says he began to look around himself and he saw the storm raging, he saw the big waves, he saw the lightning crash and the rain was falling. And in panic, he took his eyes off Jesus. Boom! And down he went and he sank. Fortunately, you know the rest of the story. Jesus was there, and with a non-condemnatory way, he would have taken Peter's hand and he would have restored him. But if Peter had just kept his eyes on Jesus, imagine the incredible story he could have told. It was great that he got to walk on water, even if it was just for a few meters. But it would have been even greater if it had ended him meeting Jesus there in the midst of the storm. Jesus met him, but he didn't necessarily meet Jesus the way that Jesus wanted him to do it. He panicked. Now, I'm not taking away from ourselves and thinking we're superhuman and that we just, things that just hit us and we just buff them off, as it were, we just hand them off like a rugby player would. There are some things we need to do that, but there are some things that are so devastating. The death of a child, or a divorce, or a huge disappointment, or that phone call that tells us that we're terminally ill. Those are the things that can cause us sometimes to drop our faith and to mess it up. I ask you, prepare in advance as to what you will do if or when those things happen. There is a chance that every one of us at some stage in our life is going to have to go through something like I've just described. Prepare in your mind now so that you know what to do when it does happen, if it does happen. Don't wait for something to happen and think, oh gee, what has happened? This is terrible. What am I going to do now? In your mind, program your thinking as to say, if this tragedy comes upon me, if this particular dilemma hits me, I know what I will do and I know what I will not do. I will never take my eyes off Jesus. I will never blame Jesus for this dilemma. I will never be that angry with him that I would walk away from him. Fortunately, you can come back. We can all know that, and sometimes the inclination is that we just want a bit of a break from God because we don't understand. I understand all that. But if we want to learn from Peter, keep your eyes on Jesus, keep your eyes on Jesus, and don't look at the storm around you. That may sound easy while we're sitting in a nice, comfortable place. And I don't know if it were to happen to me and I would be faced with a tragedy, what I would do. But I know what I should do. And I resolve in my mind to say, should that happen to me, I will never take my eyes off him. You can lose this blessing. You can mess it up at the point of panic. Think about that. Have a great day. Bye.